So hi everyone, today I'm going to discuss the SPM trial paper 2020 from the Kelantan State. Okay, so I will only discuss the questions that most of my students did wrong, and some of the questions that I feel is very weird, or maybe the schema got something wrong there. I will also discuss it. Okay, so without wasting any time, I will go through my first question will be the question 4. The first 8 terms of a geometric progression are T1, T2, T3, and till T8. Okay, so the main point here is geometric progression. Given that the sum to infinity of the odd terms is 27/4, and the sum to infinity of the even terms is 9/4. Find the first term and the common ratio. Alright, so from here, it's very clear that there are two different equations involved in it. Okay, so for the first equation, the sum to infinity of the odd terms is 27/4. It means that this is our first equation, and our first equation, it only involves T1, T3, T5, T7, and so on. However, for the second equation here, the sum to infinity of the even terms is 9/4. Is our second equation, and it will involve T2, T4, T6, T8, and so on. So from here, we got two equations. So let's look at the equation one by one. So for the first equation, I will use the blue color. So sum to infinity, what is the formula for sum to infinity? Yes, A/1 minus R. So A here is the first term and R is our common ratio. Okay, but we can see for the odd terms T1, T3, T5, T7, T9, and so on, right? So for this progression, our first term will be A. But how about our second term in this progression? The second term in this progression will be AR squared, because T2 is AR, right? A multiplied with the common ratio. So the T3 will be AR squared. So T5 will be AR4. T7 will be AR power 6, and so on. Okay, so for this, so now the first term here will be A log. So this is our first term. How about our common ratio? So how to calculate the common ratio? In order to calculate common ratio, we will use the second term of the progression divided by the first term of the progression. Okay, so common ratio R will be AR squared over A. So A and A we can cancel out, and it left only R squared here. So for the first equation here, S infinity is equals to, the first term is still 8, but the common ratio is AR squared equals to, what is the answer? Will be the first equation, 27/4. So 27/4. So this is our first equation. So for the second equation, I will use the dark green color. Okay, wait, I don't make it smaller. Okay, so for the second equation, we look it. Okay, for the second equation, the sum to the infinity of the even terms is 9/4. So still same it also the sum to the infinity. So S infinity equals to A/1 minus R. However, for the second progression here, the first term will be T2, the second term will be T4, then T6, T8, and so on. So it means that the first term here, the first term of the second progression will be AR squared. So we are AR squared. So this is the first term in our second progression. And then AR only, AR, then T4 is AR power 3, T6 is AR5, and AR7. Okay, so the first term is AR. How about the common ratio? So the common ratio we will use the second term is T4 over T2. So it will be AR cubed over AR. A and A can cancel out. And then R cubed. 1R here, so 1R will be minus. So the R left is R squared only. So the common ratio is R squared. So for the second equation here, S infinity will be the first term is AR over 1 minus R squared, and the answer is equal to 9 over 4. So this is our second equation. Okay, so now the next step we will do is we will do the simultaneous equation. Okay, so I will use pink color one, okay, to combine these two equations. So you can see for the first equation here, A over 1 minus R squared equals to 27 over 4. So A equals to 27 over 4 multiplied with 1 minus R squared. So it will become 27 over 4 minus 27 over 4 R squared. So now we substitute the first equation here to our second equation. Okay, so our second equation, AR here, our second equation, AR over 1 minus R squared equals to 9 over 4. Okay, so for the second equation, AR is equals to 9 over 4 multiplied with 1 minus R squared. Okay, so the A is, so we substitute the A here into our second equation. It will be 27 over 4 minus 27 over 4 R squared bracket R equals to 9 over 4 1 minus R squared. Okay, so the things that we need to do is just solve this equation. Okay, so 27 over 4 R minus 27 over 4 R cubed equals to 9 over 4 minus 9 over 4 R squared. And we try to arrange it to the general form. Okay, so I will try to move the left hand side here to the right hand side. Okay, so it will become 27 over 4 R cubed minus 9 over 4 R squared plus, minus 27 over 4 R plus 9 over 4 equals to 0. And you can see, actually we can multiply the whole equation here by 4 to cancel out the denominator, right? So after we multiply by 4, it will become 27 R cubed minus 9 R squared minus 27 R plus 9 equals to 0. And then you will find out A. Actually, this equation we can divide it one more time by 9, is it? Okay, so after divide the equation by 9, it will become 3R cubed minus R squared minus 3R plus 1 equals to 0. Okay, later I will explain why we need to multiply and divide. What is the effect? What is the answer will be if we didn't multiply the 4 and divide by 9? Okay, we see later I will tell you. So now you just click the calculator and you will find the answer. Okay, so the highest degree is 3, 3, -1, -3, and 1. So I think you will get 3 answer here. Okay, so the first answer will be r plus 1, so r equals to -1, r minus 1, r equals to 1, and also r 3r minus 1 equals to 0, and then r equals to 1 over 3. Okay, so I stop at you here first. I will explain what is the answer you will get if you didn't multiply the 4 here and the 9 here. Actually, you will still get the same answer. After you press the calculator, you will still get r equals to -1, r equals to 1, and also r equals to 1 over 3. But if you try to factorize out this equation, you won't get 27 over 4, -9 over 4, right? It means that if you didn't multiply the 4 and divide by 9, you can't get the answer that is same with what you write on the above. Okay, you won't get the same answer you write on the same answer with the equation that you write on the above one. Okay, so you have to remember in AddMath, in any kind of math, you need to simplify until it cannot simplify anymore, and thus you can solve the equation. Okay, so r equals to -1, r equals to 1, and also r equals to 1 over 3. So now which answer will you choose? So since this is a sum to infinity equation, right? So it means that what is the characteristic of the common ratio of equation sum to infinity? Yes, for sum to infinity, you need to always in your mind r will always smaller than 1 and greater than -1. This is the properties of a equation of sum to infinity. Okay, r smaller than 1 and greater than -1. You can imagine actually what will be the answer if the common ratio is greater than 1. For example, you can imagine that our first term will be 2, and the second term will be 4. Then the third term will be 8, 16, 32, 64, and so on. So, if this equation is a sum to infinity, but will you get an answer? No, actually, because if you substitute it into your s infinity, a over 1 minus r. So you see a here is 2, but the r here is 2 also. So 1 minus 2 is -1, right? So the answer will be -2. So you see, but for this equation, for this progression, will the sum to infinity of this progression is equals to -2? Definitely no, right? So it means that your r should be smaller than 1 or greater than -1, so that your answer of the sum to infinity, you will get an accurate answer. Okay, so for here, our answer will be r equals to 1 over 3. So how about a? We go back to our a. So the a here, a equals to 27 over 4 minus 27 over 4 r squared. What is the r? 1 over 3 squared. So what is the answer you get? So just press the calculator and you will get the answer. 27 over 4 multiply with 1 over 3 squared, then 27 over 4 minus the answer. You will get 6, is it? Okay, so let me check the answer whether it is correct or not. Okay, so the answer is 6. So now let's go to the second question, which is question 8. Diagram 3 shows a graph of a function gx. So this is a graph of the function gx. A. If the range of gx for the domain x is smaller than 2 but greater than 0, is gx smaller than m over 2 but greater than -3. Determine the value of m. So for here, for the domain x smaller than 2, so x smaller than 2 is here. Right, smaller than 2 but greater than 0. Okay, so the region we will look at is this region. Okay, so and the range of gx for this domain is smaller than m over 2, smaller than m over 2 but greater than -3. Okay, so you can see actually for this region, the maximum point is here, is it? Sorry. So the maximum point will be here, is it? Okay, and the minimum point will be here. So the maximum point here, what is the coordinate of the point at here? 5. And the minimum point will be -3. So it is mentioned that gx will be smaller than m over 2 but greater than -3. Smaller than m over 2 but greater than -3. So it means what? It's very clear already. The m over 2 here is equals to 5, right? So since m over 2 equals to 5, m equals to 10. So for the second question, determine the function of inverse gx. Okay, so in order to find the inverse function, you need to find a proper function first. Okay, so we see so in order to find the original function of gx, so how can we find it? So you can see the line here is a straight line. It means that it will have an equation which is 1 equals to mx plus c, right? Because it is straight line. So gx will definitely equals to mx plus c. So the first step here, we need to find the m. What is the m for here? So how can we find the gradient of the straight line? So m will equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 over x1, minus x1. So the second, so 5 will minus with, so for here is, with that, 0, 0 and -3. So 5 will minus -3 over 2 minus 0. So we will get, here will become plus. So 5 plus 3 is 8 over 2 will become 4. How about the c? What is c for here? C for the straight line equation is the y-intercept. So the y-intercept here is the -3. So c is equals to -3. So gx will be, gx is equals to 4x minus 3. So now we got the original function of gx already. So since gx equals to 4x minus 3, is it? Okay. So in order to find the gx, we have to make the 4x minus 3 equals to y. And then we factorize the x. 4x equals to y plus 3. And x equals to y plus 3 over 4. So the inverse function of gx is equal to x plus 3 over 4. So this is so now let us look at the next question. Question 10. Diagram 4 shows an overview of a theme park containing various games. A theme park charges an entrance fee, entrance fee of 45 ringgit, and visitors have to pay an additional fee to play each game. However, the average money spent by 60 visitors shows an unreasonable value of 25 ringgit. The review found that the theme park counter staff made a mistake by deducting the additional fee is the entrance fee for the 60 visitors. Find the real average of the money spent by a visitor. Okay, so for here you can see the actual entrance fee of each visitor should be 45 ringgit. But at the end, the average money spent by 60 visitors is only 25 ringgit. However, the actual money spent by a visitor should be greater than 45 ringgit, right? So it means something wrong somewhere. So we need to find where is the wrong. How much of the amount of money is deducted by the counter staff? Okay, what's the mistake he or she made? Okay, so for the entrance fee, one person he need to pay about 45 ringgit for entrance fee. Is it? So how about 60%? So 60%, it means that 45 multiplied with 60, and then you will get 27. But you see, but the counter staff made a mistake by deducting the additional fee with the entrance fee. So after deducting the additional fee with the entrance fee for the 60 visitors here, the average value becomes 25. So one person spent 20. Oh, sorry, I changed the color later. 25 ringgit after deduct something wrong somewhere. So 60% will become 25 multiplied with 60, and it will equal to RM1500. So this is after deducting. Okay, so this is the so this is after deducted sum of the amount. Okay, so you can see, so it means that 2,700 is the entrance fee after he or she deducts the sum of the amounts of the entrance fee. The average value for the 60% will become 1,500, right? So we need to find the x here. So the x will become 2700 minus 1500, and it will become RM1200. So it is the amount that is deducted. So we have to find the actual average of the money spent by the visitor. So the entrance fee is 2700 plus the amount which the counter staff made a mistake plus 1200, and it will become 3900. So 3,900 ringgit is the total fee. It's the total amount. It's the total amount of money spent by a visitor, but spent by 60 visitors. So we need to find the average for each visitor. Is it? So 3900 over 60, and it will become 3900 over 60, and the answer will be 65 ringgit. Okay, so this is the answer. So the next question will be the question 13. In the dart game exercise, the probability that Ramesh hits the target is P. Okay, so the P is the probability for Ramesh to hit the target. It means the probability for he to success. Given that the mean and standard deviation of success respectively is 18 and 3 multiplied with square root of 10 over 7, find the value of P. So now first, the question gives us the mean. Mean is also equals to NP. Okay, mean is also equals to NP, and the answer will be 18. However, for standard deviation, the formula we will use is square root NP cubed equals to 3 square root of 10 over 7. Okay, so now let us find what is the value of P. Is it okay? So we'll find out what is the value of P here. So NP is equal to 18. So we substitute it into the standard deviation formula. So NP is 18. So 18 multiplied with cube. 18 multiplied with cube, and then you will get 3 square root 10 over 7. So from here, we square both sides. Okay, in order to cancel out the square root. So 18 cubed will equals to 9 multiplied with 10 over 7. So 18 cubed equals to 90 over 7. So Q will equals to 90 over 7 divided by 18. Okay, so Q is equals to 1 over 7. So you have to keep it in mind. P plus Q will equals to 1. P plus Q will equals to 1 because P is the probability of getting success and Q is the probability of getting fail. So the probability of success plus the probability of fail will definitely equals to 1. So now P plus 5 over 7 equals to 1. P equals to 2 over 7. So this will be the answer. So let's go to the question 15. Diagram 5 shows a sketch of a river with a width of 50 meters and the velocity of the current flowing downstream is 2.5 meters per second. Okay, so the width is 50 meters and the velocity of the current flowing downstream is 2.5 meters per second. Ahmad wanted to paddle his boat from X to the other side of the river at Y, but his boat was carried away by the current and stopped at Z in 12 seconds. Calculate the speed of Ahmad paddling his boat. Okay, so we see this question. These questions only give us one velocity. Actually, this question is quite related to your physics, which is about what a resultant force is it. Okay, so you can see the only velocity the question gives us is 2.5 meters per second. What does it represent? This 2.5 meters per second, it represents the velocity with x direction. So we go so you can see we got x-axis, we got y-axis, right? So the 2.5 meters per second here is for the velocity in the x direction. Okay, so now calculate the speed of Ahmad paddling his boat. So what is the direction for Ahmad to paddle his boat from X to Y? From X to Y, is it? So even though the path he's passed by is X to Z, but the direction it will also is in Y direction. The direction of him to paddle his boat is still in the Y axis, is still in the Y direction. So it means that the velocity we need to find is the velocity of y direction. However, you see the time taken for him to the time taken for him to go to reach the other side of the river at z is 12 seconds. So it means that from x to z it takes along 12 seconds. So actually we can find one more velocity which is in z axis. You can see which is in the z axis. How can we find the velocity of the z axis? So first, you need to keep in mind what is the formula of velocity. So we all know that velocity, the formula of velocity will be distance over time, is it? So the time has already given us 12 seconds. How about the distance? Can we actually find out the distance? Yes. Here is 50 meters. Here is 80 meters. You can use theorem Pythagoras and find the z here. So by using theorem Pythagoras, 50 squared plus 80 squared square root is equals to the distance of xz. So the distance of xz will be 50 squared plus 80 squared, and then square root it, and you get the answer of 94.34 meter. So now you can find the velocity in the z direction already, right? So 94.34 meter divided by 12 seconds. So you will get the answer 7.86 seconds. 7.86 seconds. Meter per second. So the 0.86 meter per second is the velocity for him to paddle his boat from x to z direction. But now the question wants us to find out the speed for him to paddle his boat in the y direction, from x to in y direction. Okay, so how can we find the velocity for him to paddle his boat in the y direction? Actually, we will use the same theory. We will use the same theory by using the theorem Pythagoras. Okay, so I try to delete here first and also here. And wait. Right. So now we got the velocity here is 2.5 meter per second, and also for here is how many? 7.86 meter per second. So now we have to find the velocity in y-axis one. So how can we find? Actually, we make it to become a triangle. Here is 2.5 and here is 7.86, and now we need to find the velocity at here. So we use the theorem Pythagoras. 7.86 squared minus 2.5 squared. Then you will get the answer. Let's square it. So the answer will be 7.452 meter per second. Okay, so this will be the answer. So let us look at the question 19. Diagram 9 shows graph y equals to sine 2x and y equals to cos 2x. They intersect at 2 points. So when you see that there are two lines that intersect between each other, we can use the simultaneous equation. For example, y equals to 2x plus 1 and y equals to 4x plus 3. So for example, these two lines are intersect between each other. So it means that for a graph, maybe they are length like this. Maybe they are length, they intersect with each other, right? It means that they are sharing the same points. the coordinates of the y coordinates and the x coordinates will be shared between each other. Both equations are acceptable with the value of y and x after you use the simultaneous equation method to find it out. So the same method that we use, we will apply it as here also. Okay, y equals to sin 2x and y equals to cos 2x that intersect at 2 points, which is here and here. So we try to do the simultaneous equation. Y equals to sin 2x and y equals to cos 2x. So sin 2x equals to cos 2x. And then we try to move the right hand side here to the left hand side, and it will become sin 2x over divided by cos 2x equals to 1. Actually, for here, we can write the cos 2x here can multiply with 1. So sin 2x divided by cos 2x is equal to 1. And then sin 2x and cos 2x will become tangent 2x is equals to 1. So 2x, by using your calculator, you will find a tangent, some tangent a degree, which is equal to 1 will be 45 degree. However, the answer of the tangent 2x here is positive. It means that this degree, it means that the angle is at the first sequence and the third sequence. Okay, and the third sequence. So for the first sequence, you just use the value of x, which is the 45 degree. But for the third sequence, you need to plus x plus 1x 0 degree. So it means that we will get one more answer, which is the angle at the third sequence, which is 225 degree. However, since this graph, it turns 2 times. Is it? You see, here got 2 more. So it means that it got made 2 turns. Okay, so it means that the 45 degree we need to add one more term, which by adding 360 degree. So 360 plus 45 will become, wait, I move this up here first. Okay, so the 45 degree we plus 360 will become 405 degree, and the other one we also add more 360 degree, and then you will get an answer 585 degrees. But is this the answer? No. You can see the 2x graph here, the range for this graph is only until pi only. It means that the range is only until the 180 degree. So the third answer and the fourth answer we need to cancel out. These two answers cannot be used because the graph of the 2x is until the range of the graph is until 180 degree only. Okay, so you need to look carefully what is the range that the graph given. Okay, so now we all know that 2x equals to 45 and 225. How about x? X is 45 divided by 2, and then you will get the answer 22.5, and also 225 divided by 2, you will get the answer 112.5 degree. So this will be my final answer. Okay, so now let us look at question 20. Diagram 10 shows point P, H, and 1 located at the circumference of a circle. Okay, so you can see this is the triangle. Okay, so this is the triangle that the question gives us. Find in terms of H cos 70 degree. Okay, so the first step that we need to do is we need to determine the angle is located at which quadrant. So you have to bear in mind that the first quadrant is at here. First quadrant should be smaller than 90 degree but greater than 0 degree. And the second quadrant should be between 180 but greater than 90 degree. And for the third quadrant here, the value should be smaller than 270 degree but greater than 90 degree, and also the last quadrant here, the angle should be smaller than 360 but greater than 0 degree. So since the question asks us to find a 7 degree, it means that this angle is located at the first quadrant. Okay, so this is the first step that we need to do first. Okay, and then the second one, we need to draw out a triangle. Okay, so for the 7 degree at here, so I will draw out a triangle here. Actually, what does the coordinates that the question given represents? Actually, the coordinates represent the length of the sides of the triangle. For example, you can see here, the coordinates of the P is h and 1, right? H is the x coordinates, it means that here is h. So, since here is h, it means that the distance from the x-axis until here is h. And then the y represents the y coordinates, it means that here is 1. So, the height of the triangle from the x-axis to the above is 1. So now we have already known the length of two sides of the triangle. So how about the hypotenuse, the longest one? Can we get the value? Actually, we can. How? We can use the theorem Pythagoras. Okay, so I'll put it as big H first. Okay, so in order to find cos 70 degree, okay, cos 70 degree equals to so A over H. So where should be the A? A will be the here. A is the H. So this is A. A over H, and then H is the big H here. So it means that we need to find the big H already. How can you find the big H? By using theorem Pythagoras. H is equal to square root 1 square plus H square. So it will be square root 1 plus H lah. So then we just substitute into the formula. So A is H, and the denominator will be square root H square plus 1. Okay, so this will be the answer. So for the question B, how about tangent 140 degree? Can we find any information that are related to the angle of 140 degree? No, right? The question only gives us the information about a 70 degree, but not instead of 140 degree. But actually, you'll find out tangent 140 degree is equals to tangent 2 times 70 degree. It means that we can apply the formula of the double angle formula, which is 2 tangent x over 1 minus tangent square x. So this is the formula for the double angle for the tangent lah. Okay, so now we need to find the tangent x. So how can we find the tangent x? You see, by using this triangle, we know that tangent x equals to O over A. So where should be the opposite? Here 1 over A is H. So tangent x equal to 1 over H. So tangent x equal to 1 over H. So 2 1 over H over 1 minus 1 over H square. Okay, so the answer will be 2 over H over 1 minus 1 over H square. And it will become, wait up, I try to make it smaller first so that I can do more step here. Okay. So 2 over H, and then I will make the denominator of the denominator to become a single fraction, which is H squared minus 1 over H squared. So 2 over H multiplied with H squared over h squared minus 1. So h and h we can cancel out, so the answer will be 2h over h squared minus 1. Okay, so this will be the answer. So now let us look at the question 23. Mr. Ramli is a small entrepreneur. He wants to invest 2,000 ringgit in a spice business. He is confident that his investment 1 ringgit will increase at the rate 2 bracket x plus 121, which x is time in year. Find the number of years it takes for his investment money to be doubled from his original investment. Okay, so the first information that we can get from the question is the initial money he put in is 2,000 ringgit, and then RMY will increase at the rate of 2x plus 121. What does it mean by this sentence? This sentence actually tells us that dy over dt equals to 2 bracket x plus 121. RMY will increase at the rate 2 multiplied with x plus 121. But the t here, you need to be careful, right? The t here is in year. Okay, how many years it takes. And then find out the number of years it takes for his investment money to be doubled. What it means by doubled? From 2,000 ringgit to become 4,000 ringgit from his original investment. Okay, so now the first information that we can get from the question is initially he put RM 2,000 ringgit, and we all know that dy over dt is is 2 bracket x plus 121. Okay, and the last step, then the final so just until here first. Okay, so we all know that dy over dt will be the 2 bracket s plus 121, right? How can we convert it to become a normal y? We have to find a normal y first. How can we find it? Yes, actually we will use the concept of the integration. So we have to integrate 2 bracket x plus 121, and also equals to 2x plus 242 here. So after we do integration, 2x squared over 2 plus 242x. So this is the value of y, and then 2 we can cancel out. So y equals to x squared plus 242x. So what is the y for here? What is the what it means by y at here in this equation? Yes, y is the RMY. Y is the change of the money. Y is the change of the money from the initial to the final. So from initial 2,000 ringgit to become 4,000 ringgit, what we have to increase how many amount of the money? Yes, we have increased 2,000 ringgit, right? So this 2,000 ringgit is actually the value of y. Can you get it? Because RMY will increase at a rate of 2x plus 121. So what is the RMY? What is the amount of money will increase? 2,000 ringgit. When it is increased by 2,000 ringgit, so that when it comes to the final year, I can get 4,000 ringgit back. Okay, so since y equals to 2,000, so can we find the value of x already? So x squared plus 242x equals to 2,000 ringgit. So x squared plus 242x minus 2,000 ringgit will equal to 0. So you can click calculator, and then you will get x minus 8x plus 250 equals to 0. Then x will equals to 8 and or x will equals to negative 250. So since x represents the years, the time taken, right? So x should be greater than 0. So x is 8. So this is the answer. Okay, so that's all for today's lessons. Okay, so if you guys have any question that you want to ask, you can just leave it in the comments box below. I will check it one by one and reply your question. So that's all for today's lesson. See you. Bye.